Today on TQA Weekly, I talk about port forwarding, why we do it, why it's better than UPnP, and the process of getting all the information you need in order to achieve it. My name is Steve Smith, this is TQA Weekly, and if ever you need to contact me, for a question, a comment, a suggestion for a topic, ask@tqaweekly.com is my email, @zedaxis, ZEDAXIS is my Twitter handle. You can find me at facebook.com/zedaxis1981, that's my Facebook page. And of course, you can always go to my website, tqaweekly.com, and or even subscribe and comment down below on YouTube, Vimeo, and even blip.tv. Today's topic is all about port forwarding. I'm going to attempt to make this as simple as possible since routers make it as complicated as possible to do something by giving you the easy option of UPnP, Universal Plug and Play, which I've already talked about is extremely dangerous because it allows viruses to leverage your firewall against you by punching huge holes that allow every single computer and device in your network to be easily compromised. So obviously, we don't want UPnP to be turned on because it is dangerous. Some devices like the Xbox don't work when UPnP is turned off, so we have to resort to a different kind of tactic called port forwarding. Obviously, not as safe as a full-on firewall, but at least you only punch holes into it that go to a specific device, and that is something you need to keep in mind. When you're using port forwarding, those outside ports will connect to a specific inside device unless your NAT firewall is already waiting for traffic over that IP address for that specific port number. So who should actually be using port forwarding? Well, anybody that has a service behind a NAT firewall not using UPnP and that actually needs to connect to that specific device inside of your network. Obviously, it's not super secure, but when you don't have a choice, you don't have a choice. So, depending on how you actually need to access your device or allow it access to the internet or specific servers access to your device, so basically the Microsoft game servers for the Xbox 360 and Xbox One in our cases, you will have to open up specific sets of ports. So first of all, you should go and actually consult the FAQ and the forms of each specific service or device that you intend to use behind the firewall that you need, since most routers have a limited number of port forwarding settings that you can actually use so that you can actually allow them access to your specific device. By allowing them to connect to your specific device through a already predetermined amount of ports, that will allow them the ability to communicate freely without interference. Now, you do actually need to know what they're expecting as ports, and you got two different kinds of ports. You have TCP and UDP, so you actually need to know which ports they're expecting, and the list that they have is everything that you need to punch. Then you need to go and access your router either through the gateway address of 192.168.0.1.1.1 or .2.1. So basically the two last digits are usually what changes. So it starts with 192.168. Either 01, 11, or 21. There's a dot in between. And then once you're in there, you can actually figure out from the client list what your device's IP address is. This will be what you use for your local IP address. What you got from the FAQ or form will be the ports that you need accessing, and each of the ports themselves will have a service name. So if a bunch of these ports go to the same service, I suggest you name them things like Xbox One number 1, and then number 2, and then number 3, and then number 4, and so forth and so forth. When you have the service name decided, the local destination IP address of the device, and all the ports, and of course the type UDP or TCP or both, then you can start adding them to the port forwarding section, normally under WAN in the settings of your router. So it basically goes service name, destination IP address, port, and type of port, either UDP, TCP, or both, and then you add each one individually. Your router may or may not ask for you to restart it, after which the service should finally work. And it's actually not that hard in order to achieve. And for those who are really confused about what it looks like, go to tqaweekly.com/se5ep15, go into my show notes, and there is a WikiHow graphical representation of what I just explained. It's super simple to follow, it's not a hard process, and for anybody who has an Xbox One trying to figure out what the port forwarding settings are, it's already in my show notes. All you have to do is fill it into your router. Have a great day, don't forget to subscribe, and